Hi everyone, welcome to part 3 of the Stjärnfall colour along. So the book that we are colouring in is this one. It's by Maria Troll, and we have started in the first 2 parts by doing the water and the hills. Now I've just realised looking at this, there's 2 more hills at the bottom that I've forgotten about, so I will get those done probably off camera to save your time, because I've already done some of these on camera, so you know exactly what I'm doing. But today I thought we'd start on the tree because I'm still not sure yet what I want to do about the background within the circle. So if this is completely brand new to you, you haven't seen the first 2 parts, then I will link them below so you can have a look. The first part was actually done on a live stream, but you can still watch along. And the second part was a standard video like this, and I'm not sure how many parts it's going to take. Depends. Depends what I can get done, what I feel like doing, but I will complete the page. I've made that promise and I will stick to that. So we're all nice and in frame. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. Maybe slightly less. Sometimes when I zoom in on this, it looks like I'm in the right position, but then when I go to edit the video, it's a lot further up than I think. So I don't know. Anyways, so we are using Black Widow pencils. This is my Black Widow family chart that is going to help me choose some colours in different families. We've already used that already with the grass and the water. So I've got that to one side. I've of course got my my Black Widow pencils out of shot. And I thought we'd do a bit of basing today. I've been doing this quite a bit recently, especially on the Wildegorn book that I just reviewed. Just basing some areas with a water-based marker and then going over with coloured pencil details. It really helps just to have that initial first layer of colour on the paper. It's quicker process, and it's quite nice to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I can test this somewhere. Here we go. I think I tested some on here, but not these particular ones, and they did bleed through a little bit. What can I test? Maybe if I just do a little stripe across here. See, these are quite juicy pens. Yeah, there is some shadow in there. It's a little bit frustrating because I didn't really want that to happen on the back of this page. What have we got on the back? Got a cute little cat in the clouds. I can imagine myself doing that one day. So I don't really want to ruin it. I wonder if a Tombow would be better because it's not quite as juicy as this. Let me grab a Tombow and see. So I'm just having a very quick look at what I think might be a similar kind of brown. Let's test this one. This one's 027. Go back to the front. Oh no, that's a bit of a greenish brown actually. Let's just see how it looks anyway. Oh, that's actually okay. That's not come through. Let me get a bit of a better brown, and then I think we'll be all right. Let's try this one, or this one. Got some slightly more reddish browns. I'm just completely wrecking this this first page. Maybe I can figure out something later on down the line to fix it. I wish we had a colour testing page. That would make things so much easier. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do it on a little bit of the branch. Oh, that's more like what I was thinking. Let's just go to the end of that branch. Yeah, that's not bleeding through at all. So I think if we're careful and we only do one layer, the Tombow should be really good on this paper. I think just the Karen brush markers are slightly too juicy. Okay, so get you back into shot. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do first. This is the number 977, just in case you want to base it with your Tombows as well. And I'm going to try my hardest not to go over the same area twice, because that's what will start to cause some bleed through to the other side. So So I'm not sure how long it's been since I've done the last part of this, maybe a month, slightly more. It's something that is waiting for me to have time and motivation to do it. It's one of them things. And my kids have gone on holiday today with their auntie, so I'm going to have a little bit of time this week. Hopefully to get a few more videos done that have been pending for a while. Let's just do a quick bleed check. Yeah, that's fine. So I hope that you're all okay. I have missed speaking to everybody on the live streams. That was the best thing about it, really, was being able to talk to you all. But it just became a little bit too much for me, and a bit of a... well, I've spoke about this in the last video, but just a bit overwhelming, I think, to do it every week. It would be nice to do one just on the spare of the moment and just to catch up with what everyone's doing at the minute. It doesn't matter too much when you're layering this down, whether it's streaky or not, because the coloured pencil is going to hide an awful lot of that. But it's actually a good thing sometimes, because if you're colouring something that has texture, you can use those streaks to your advantage, and it almost creates a texture. So, you know, tree bark is not going to be perfectly smooth, so it's okay actually to have these streaky lines there. Now, if you don't have any water-based pens suitable for this book and you are following along, just do a light brown base with your pencils. So when we're looking at Black Widow, I would say, let me see, foxy brown probably, if not dark tan, something like that. So it's not a super light brown like these tints here, but it's sort of a medium shade, medium light, and that will give you a good base to then go over with darker details on top. Okay, so I think I've got all of the tree bits. Just for fun, I'm going to colour the bottom of this boat in the same brown. That will keep it all tied in, because I don't like to use too many colours if I can help it. The page that I've just finished in Wildergorn, I absolutely love it, don't get me wrong, but there's just so much on it that you can't really keep your colours very limited, at least I can't. So I like to keep colours limited on the page. I think it ties it all together. So yes, we've done the basing now. Let's have a look then at what brown we want to use for some tree bark details. So we need something that's going to be darker than this, but still quite warm. Now I'm looking at these. I'm looking at Huntsman and Dark Chocolate. So I think I'm going to get those two out and we'll have a look. Trying to find it now. In the pencil case. Right. Dark Chocolate Huntsman, fab. And then I will of course give them a quick sharpen, so mind your ears. There we go. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the darker colour first, and then I can bring the lighter one in to sort of merge any bits together that I think look a bit harsh. So the darkest one is the Huntsman. So I'll put Dark Chocolate to the side for a minute and think about what kind of detailing I want to do on here. So it's actually handy, like I said, to have done the basing and get the streakiness, because I can sort of use them as a bit of a guide of where I want to put some detail. So now don't get me wrong, this isn't going to come out looking like a hyper realistic tree from Sherwood Forest. I'm just trying to add a little bit of a little bit of detail to it so that it's not just a block brown. But I don't really know what I'm doing, so this is going to be quite difficult to follow along with, because I'm sort of taking it as I'm seeing it. I'm not really making a plan of where to put any lines. So I guess I'm just going to slightly follow the streaks underneath and see whether that will contribute to a sense of randomness. You know, I don't want it to look like I'm doing anything uniform. So a nice and sharp pencil will really help with this. The Black Widows do stay sharp, definitely longer than something softer like a Prismacolor, but the minute that you start to feel it blunting, you can just, you'll probably see me do this kind of motion, and that's me twisting the pencil. So literally I'm using my forefingers to twist it, but I do it so quick you don't really know what I'm doing. But that just means that I am twisting away from the side of pencil that has gone a bit blunt. So I'm getting the edge, the crisp, sharp edge. So that's what I'm doing if you see me make this kind of very, very small movement with my hands. So again, there's no rhyme or reason to this, as with most of my colouring. I find it hard sometimes to make these colour alongs into a tutorial style, because it's not a plan that I've got. It just flows from me. I'm not trying to plan out what I'm doing. So hopefully you can sort of look at your own piece and see where you think you should put some dark lines or a little bit of a wood grain effect. I just done a sort of backwards question mark there, just to give a little bit of a curl, like a knot in the wood. But again, you're not really forced to see that on trees. It's, I don't know. But yeah, I just hope that you're really okay, everybody. And I want to know what you're working on at the moment. If you've been waiting for this, I'd like you to tag me in any post that you make so that I can see your progress. If you've been working on anything else, I would love to see that as well. So you can tell me in the comments, or you can tag me on Instagram. And yeah, I love interacting with everyone. So you just let me know how you've been and what you're working on. My eldest went to see his absolute #1 favourite ultimate singer ever, Lana Del Rey, last night. He went to Leeds Festival, and they literally waited about 9 hours just for her to come on, because she was obviously the last act, the headliner, and he didn't care about anyone that sort of came before. He just went for Lana, but obviously they had to get there really early to try and get a decent spot in the crowd, which they did. They weren't too far from the barricade. They were quite, you know, close. But yeah, he absolutely loved it. It was amazing. He texted me after and he was like, it doesn't feel real that she's actually in front of me. And I know exactly how he feels, because that's how I feel when I go to concerts and things. It's so odd to see someone that you've watched countless hours of performing on YouTube or TV or wherever, and suddenly they're actually a very real human being stood in front of you. It's very strange, but no, he absolutely loved it. I think it will be one of those things that he remembers forever, because he really loves Lana Del Rey. His room is like, he's got posters and the American flag and like all the Lana Del Rey merch and things like that. He's absolutely obsessed. So I'm just so happy for him. I got him the tickets earlier this year because it was his 18th birthday at the beginning of the year. So he was he's been waiting all of this time for it to come around. But yeah, he had such a fun time. And then he's off to university next month, which is crazy. He just got his A-level results and got straight into uni, which was amazing. He will be staying at home, I think, so I'm not going to miss him too much, because that was my big thing. I was like, oh, I don't want to like let him know how upset I'd be if he left, because I want him to do what he wants to do, but it would crush me. Oh my God. But luckily he's not going too far away as well, so he can come home So I'm secretly glad about that. His brother's not as glad because his brother wanted his bedroom. So he was trying to convince his brother to go in the halls at uni and stay there just so that he could have his bigger bedroom. But that's brothers for you, isn't it? But yeah, I'm so pleased for him. And that's what's been going on with me really lately. There's not been a lot. It's the school holidays, so it's kind of trying to think of things to do, and then you don't really think of anything, and before you know it, it's the end of the day and you've not really done a lot. It's that kind of vibe. But yeah, like I say, they've gone on holiday today for 5 days with my sister, so I've got a little bit of free time. And yeah, I'm not really looking at what I'm doing, I'm just gabbing away as usual. But hopefully you're watching and you can see, you know, what's happening here, and try and emulate it yourself if you are following along. So Black Widows are really good for detailing because, like I say, they are quite a hard lead. They're not hard as something like a Derwent Artist, which are really, really hard. They do feel soft on certain papers, but I would say that they're definitely on the harder side of the scale when it comes to other coloured pencils. So it's nice that, you know, I've not had to sharpen it yet. I'm doing my little twist, and I'm managing to keep a decent enough point. Whereas with something like Prisma or Luminance, I would have had to sharpen it a few times by now. So it's nice to use the Black Widows because they don't get used very often, but they do have such a large range of colours, it's a shame. So it's nice for me to be using them, you know, because they were voted for on the live, because I probably wouldn't have chosen them, sad to say, because I'm just so used to using what I use, but I have so much in supplies, you know, of different brands, that I really should be using different ones more often. I think you just get into a rut of what you know, don't you? At least I do anyway. But it is nice to be kind of doing this basing as well underneath, because, you know, when you're using pencil, you end up with, unless you're burnishing, a lot of that white tooth showing through. So basing it completely gets rid of any white, it eradicates it all, and then you can just sort of go in and do what you want to do with your pencil. So yeah, I have been doing that more often in my colouring. I feel like now I'm not speaking, I'm looking at what I'm doing more, and I don't like it. When I'm talking, I can just go along and it sort of turns out okay. So, what else have I been up to? My life's very boring, guys. I'm having to live vicariously through everyone else. So, I don't have an awful lot to report. Did you all see the picture that I did from the Beauty of Horror last night? I posted it last night. And it only took me like, well, I started it the night before last and I finished it last night. So it didn't take that long. And I used like distress inks on the background. And I always love using the distress inks with anything Beauty of Horror. Like I used it quite a lot in the journal. It's like a Wreck This journal, but it's a Beauty of Horror one. Used it quite a lot in that. It just gives it a really grimy, gross, greasy, scary looking feel. But I do need some more distress ink because mine have run out. So I was really, really having to push and press on that ink pad to get enough ink for the project yesterday. So I definitely need to get some more of them. I've got them on my wish list, but they are really expensive. Like even the little ones, you might get a pack of 4 little ones and it's like £10 to £15. And I just think that's a lot of money really for 4 little ink pads, but that's probably just me being tight. But yeah, they are really good though. I enjoy using them, and they're fast. Like I say, they can quickly fill up a background and give a sense of whatever it is you're trying to convey, you know, the feeling. Like I say, very grimy and gross. Or on the flip side, it can be very vintage and retro and old looking. So there's a lot you can do with them. I tend to like the vintage colours more than I would use, say, like a bright red or a bright green. I think they lend themselves quite well to the non-standard colours. So I'm not even sure if I'm going to be using that dark chocolate pencil, because I'm quite liking how this is turning out. But I do feel like it's about time for me to have a little sharpen, because all the edges are getting pretty blunt now. And when you're working in the smaller details, like these very thin branches, you do need it to be nice and sharp. I'm just going to go along the edge of this one, and I'm well aware that I'm going out of the lines here. I do that a lot, but I simply don't care. I've come to realise that it's the end product that, you know, that will look fine. It's just when you're at the time working in these little things and you make these little mistakes, you think, oh God, I've ruined it. But it's what the eye sees as a whole package when you're finished. It's not what, you know, you're looking at where you've gone wrong. So I think I've done the little branches. Might just do a little bit more shade in there. I'll come down onto the bottom of the illustration now. So again, just being very random, trying to sort of follow a few of the streaks. Making sort of Y shapes, you can see really elongated, stretched Y shapes. And again, it's not that I'm, you know, meaning to do that. It's just sometimes it turns out like that. And it just adds to the look of randomness. See, where this trunk is quite thick, I might end up putting a little bit of the dark chocolate just between, because it's we're getting a lot of space between our black lines or dark brown lines, and it's kind of a place where you might need to just put a little bit of filler in there with a medium colour. That's okay. Oh, so what does everyone think about monkeypox? I've heard there's some kind of pandemic on the way for that, regarding that. There's always something, isn't there? Like, I remember in the 90s it was mad cow disease. I don't even know what that was all about, but I just remember it, mad cow disease, you know, as being everywhere in the news when I was a kid. I don't know if that just affected animals though, or whether it was like went on to, I don't think it went to humans, did it? But yeah, there always seems to be something, don't they? We'll see, we'll see. I just hope that there won't be any more big lockdowns, because I mean, it doesn't matter to me really, because I'm a homebody anyway, but it's like the kids. I know how much it affected them to be locked down for all that time, and it really, really did affect my youngest. So I just hope that it's not going to be a case of all that again. These are really twisted and gnarly. I'm trying to figure out where to put my wrist and still let you see what I'm doing. might have to actually just tilt it a little bit so I've got a better angle. Oh, that's better. A little bit of a sharpen again. So I don't want to go too thick in these thin bits. Tell you what I was watching last night was videos that people have taken on YouTube of Vegas, and it's changed so much. Like, I think it's just an ever-changing beast, isn't it, Las Vegas? But I went there in 2007, so what's that, like 17 years ago, something like that? And I was only 17. No, I wasn't. I was 18 at the time. And it's changed so much. Like, there's obviously a lot that's still there when I went, you know, the Excalibur and the Bellagio and all that stuff, but it's like they rip down casinos and build new ones all the time. It's crazy. And you're looking around the streets and around the casinos and walking through, you know, say like Bally's or Wynn's, absolutely gorgeous palatial interiors, and I just, brought back a lot of memories. I absolutely loved it in Vegas. Didn't do any gambling. I mean, I might have done a little bit, you know, like put a coin in the slot, but that wasn't the reason that I went. It was plus, and also I was only 18, so I'm not allowed to. I actually got told to leave the Venetian because I went and asked for a Coca-Cola and they wanted my ID, and I was like, do you need my ID for a Coca-Cola? They was like, yes. So I got it out and they said, you can't even be in the casino, so had to leave. Even though, you know, I'd got a 1-year-old child and I'd had a job for a couple of years and I was the right age to drink and gamble in the UK, it was very strange to not even be able to get a Coke. But anyhow, I absolutely loved it. I'd love to, if I was going to travel ever again, which I don't see myself doing, I would love to go back there because there's just so much to see. I think you could spend more money in a seaside town in the UK, a crappy seaside town, than you do in Vegas. I mean, once you've got there, obviously the flights and the accommodation are the big thing, but once you've actually got there, there's so much to see just on the street side, you know, and so much to look at. If you're there for sort of seeing amazing sights and taking pictures and stuff, you really don't spend an awful lot of money. And especially when I went in 2007, I don't know if they still do the buffets, but you could get in for like $10 each, and there was just so much food. Like, it's not even about the amount of food, it's about the variety. Like, there was shrimp and steak and like so much amazing food that you could just have as much as you wanted of. It was a great experience. Okay, I don't want to add like too much. I don't want to go too far with this. So that's all that we've done with the Huntsman pencil. I've got the dark chocolate here. I just want to see how it lays down. It's not really looking much different to the Huntsman on this. So I might grab, the dark tan. If I can find it again. Where is it? Dark tan, right, sharpen it and see, yeah, that matches the colour underneath with the Tombow a lot better. So I'm not going to colour over the whole thing because I want to keep this multi-tonal look going on, but if there's any little bits that I just think could do with a slight blend, then I will just go over it with the dark tan. There's not going to be a lot though, because I quite like the effect that it's giving. Yeah, it's going to be strange this week with the kids not being here because they're always here. And also, I care for my grandma as well, and she's away. So it's going to be a weird week. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I'll no doubt end up just doing a lot of housework and then in between bits and bobs of colouring and watching movies. That's my, not the housework, but the colouring and the watching movies is like my happy place. So I don't think I'll be going anywhere. We might nip somewhere, but I'm really, like I say, I am a home bird. And that's why lockdowns didn't really bother me that much. But we'll see, we'll see. There's just certain areas where I think it looks a bit rough. And I mean, that's not a bad thing because it is tree bark. So it's bound to have a bit of a rough texture to it. But again, you're never going to get this exactly how I'm doing it. So yours will look a lot better. It might not look as good in your eyes, but however it turns out is going to be unique because it is just literally putting lines randomly. So don't feel like it has to be exactly the same as mine. And I get a lot of people messaging me saying that they've tried to follow along, but it looks nowhere near as good. And I want to say, and I do say, it's fine, honestly. Like, you're not going to get exactly the same every time. You know, like I've just said, sometimes yours will be like far better technically than mine is. And even if it's not and you think it isn't as good, don't let that stop you. This is supposed to be a fun activity. And any kind of quote unquote mistakes that you're making, that's part of the process. It's part of the artistic journey. Like, you're not going to go from can't colour to master colourist, you know, straight away. You have to have these experiments and stuff. So I really don't enjoy it when I know that people are upset about their work, because I have had that a few times, and I just really feel for them, because that's kind of how I started off. You know, I wasn't trained, I didn't go to art school or even do art as a GCSE, so I'm not, you know, I've not got any kind of special skill or training. And I've had to colour pieces that I'm really not proud of, that I really don't like. And it still happens now, you know. So what I'm trying to say, and I'm probably not conveying this properly, is just go with the flow. Any perceived mistakes are learning opportunities. And it probably doesn't look as bad as you think, you know. I get that a lot, where I think, oh God, that looks awful. And then I get loads of lovely comments from people saying, oh my gosh, how did you do that? It looks amazing. And I almost can't believe it. But then I'm like, Claire, you need to start believing people. It's just a self-esteem issue, I suppose. But yeah, you know how bad I am at trying to articulate things. But hopefully you got the gist of what I'm saying. Right, so I'm pretty happy with that as is. It's just a very simple sort of tree texture. I'm not going to go any deeper into it than that. I've picked up the dark chocolate as I'm saying that I'm finished. And I'm still adding bits. I just want to bring some of these gaps in a little bit more. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how the tree bark is looking. Hopefully you think the same. And I'm still doing it. Right, stop, put the pencil down. Okay. Right, next, what do I want to do? So I've missed this little bit of green in the boat. And while I see it, I want to do it because I will forget. So that looks like more of the medium green, I think. Is that it? So if you haven't seen the second part, we are using the Black Widow, Forest, Green Grass and Irish Green. That's from the Cobra and Scorpion sets. I've also missed a little bit up here, so I'm put that in while I think about it. Yeah, and I've got the hills to do, but I'll do those later. I think I'm going to use the same greens for the leaves because again, I just want to keep it quite cohesive. I'm not sure yet what colours I'm going to be doing the roses because I don't know what colour her dress is going to be or her hair, and that will probably be something that ties in with the colours of the roses. Wouldn't this be nice, speaking of Vegas, to do like the Excalibur colours? So a red and a blue turret, that might be really cool. I'm going to do a couple of leaves and then I'm going to leave this part because I want to think about the background a bit more. So I'm going to do a couple of these leaves on camera so that you can see how I do them, and then I will finish the rest of the leaves off camera. And next time we come back, we'll try and get the flowers and the castle done. Not sure about anything else, but I'm going to hopefully be back to it this week because I want to try and finish this now with you. But anyway, right, so I've got the forest from Cobra. Let's just pick a leaf. So generally when a leaf is shaped like this with a little line in the middle, what I do is I will choose a side to draw over the line. So this is the left hand side of the leaf. I've drawn over the line, and then I will draw over the middle line so that we've got like a coffee bean shape. And then from that middle line, I will start to blend out, and I'll do the same from the curved line as well. So we've got a slight bit of a blend. Can you see this? Shall I zoom in a bit? So you see we've got that slight bit of a blend on opposite sides, and it just starts to give the leaf a little bit of shape. So the next one is green grass. Now this is a really small area, so you may not be able to get much of each colour on. And then we've got Irish green. And even though it's a small area, try not to completely fill all of the white if you can help it. So there should still be a little tickle of white on the edge of the lightest green, and that just gives us more of an impact, more of a contrast. And then I'm just going over the two start lines again with the forest pencil. And that's pretty much it. So, you know, if I want to come in and put a little bit more of each colour just to make it look blended, more blended, than I can do. But that's it. That's how I would do these sort of oval shaped leaves. So let's do another one. Again, just pick a side. So I'm going for, again, the left hand side. Outer edge, middle line. A little bit of a fuzz just so that we can use our next colour to blend, but you don't really need to because these are such a small area. And again, just really trying to leave the smallest slither of white. And if you feel like it needs it, you can go back with the darkest colour and redefine. Let's do a couple more. There are some really, really thin ones here, and you might find yourself struggling a little bit. And if that's the case, then skip a colour. So I'm going to skip straight to the Irish green for this, and it will look a bit strange. But once you've sort of filled your Irish green bit in, you can come in with that medium colour, the green grass, and just do a little tiny bit of it. But I find when it's a small area like this, it's sometimes easier to skip to the lighter colour and then just add touches of the medium colour in to blend afterwards. Might as well finish this little branch with you guys. I'm going to ignore Johanna's little line here because it's far too close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to colour that as one line and blend it so that it's only one side of the leaf that is showing. On this one, I'm just going to turn the page a little bit for my angle, and we'll do the same again. So outline the bottom, outline the centre, middle colour, lightest colour, leaving the white, and then redefine the first two colours. Again, it's not easy on these little leaves, but if I zoom you out, that's a bit too much, there we go. If I zoom you out, you can see the entirety of the page and you can see how it looks. You know, it looks like it's got dimension, and you can imagine how the rest of them will look. So that is what I'm going to do off camera. We have been on for how long? I can't see because I stopped it halfway through for the speed, but I know it's been about an hour-ish, so I hope that you've enjoyed this, again, very waffly video, and you're colouring along with me. Do let me know if you've got, how far you've got. I would love to see them, and I will try and get the next part out to you this week. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon on Colour with Claire.